Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. First class of the year. We are going to be working in our chair, doing some chair mobility. One of the most important places for us to move is the place that we spend the most amount of time, and that is generally in our chair in the seated position. This is an area where I say I don't want to get up to go move. I actually want to move in the very space that I spend that time, partly because when we sit, our nervous system is incredibly efficient and it will try to conserve energy by stacking all of our joints, turning off our core. So the longer we sit, within about 15 minutes, we start to get into this stacked, shut off, everything's kind of just sitting on itself position. And the longer we sit in those positions, the more we get compression within that spine. Things get sticky, they get less mobile. So we want to move in the very position that we're sitting in. Taking 30-second up to 1 minute breaks, doing a little bit of mobility in order to awaken the core, get us back to upright so that we have about 15 minutes before we start to go into that compressive state. The more we move in our chair throughout the day, the more mobile we'll feel, the more expansion we'll feel in our spine. You're going to find that you're going to feel a lot better at the end of the day, and you'll be more prepared for that workout, whatever you're doing after work. So with all that, let's get started. So we're going to start with some crocodile breath, making some nice big C shapes with our hands. Hands are going to go below the rib cage, above the hip bone in that nice meaty section of the abdominal wall. Thumbs are going in the rear, pressing into that low back musculature. Index fingers wrapping around the front into the abdominal musculature. Palms are pressing into the side body. We're going to take nice inhales in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth, and as we exhale, we're drawing that navel up and in, tightening up that abdominal core, full expression of that exhale. And as we exhale, I also want to kind of clench in the hands in order to create more resistance for our inhale. And on our inhale, I want to imagine we're trying to blow up the walls of the abdominal walls as if they're a balloon, getting them to expand in all directions. So I want to feel expansion through the front, pressing into the index fingers, into the low back, pressing into the thumbs, and out through the sides, pressing into the palms. We'll get a good 5 up to 10. Nice slow inhale, nice slow exhale. And with each inhale, we're seeing if we can get that balloon to blow up and expand a little bit more. As we exhale, feel that navel draw in. You might even notice a little bit of scooping of the pelvis. As we inhale, feel that expansion out. Also feel that your spine get nice and tall. As we inhale, we can feel that expansion of the balloon outward. Also feel that expansion up into the shoulders, upper back, neck. On the exhale, as you draw that navel into spine, make sure that you're not holding tension in the shoulders and you're allowing the shoulders to soften back down to the floor. And as you're getting these nice breaths in, start to notice how well can you feel that expansion of the abdominal wall, especially in the thumbs and the palms. That low back area and side body area are spaces in which we tend to lose that ability to expand our breath. And so I want to work on building that neurology back up. Most importantly is noticing if it's different on one side. Do you get expansion to one side, but the other side doesn't move very well? And if that's the case, then this is a breath practice that I would encourage doing multiple times a day until you start to feel that balance in your breath. We'll go ahead and let the arms soften down. We're going to bring one ankle onto a knee, getting into a figure 4 position with the hips. And we're going to start with just a little bit of knee mobility or hip mobility. We're going to lift that knee up to the ceiling and then actively reaching it down to the floor. Inhale as we lift. Exhale as we reach. I want to make sure it's not painful. I don't want this to be painful on the knee or on the hip. And doing a good 5 up to 10 reps. Notice where it feels tight. How tight does it feel? Notice the height of your knee. How high does it sit? How low can you reach? So that we can kind of compare as we switch and do the same thing to the other side. Again, inhale as we lift that knee. Exhale as we reach the knee down to the floor. Nice inhale, continuing to use that crocodile breath. Feel that expansion on the inhale. Exhale, drawing navel into spine as you reach that knee down and away. And my right hip is significantly tighter. My knee sits higher. It's harder to get that knee down towards the floor compared to the left side. Once we balance those out, we're going to switch back to the other side. And this time now we're kind of keeping that knee actively reaching down to the floor. And we're going to get into some nice forward fold. So nice inhale, fill up, get the spine tall. On the exhale, we're letting the hands fall over the shins, lightly reaching down towards the floor. As we exhale, inhale, inflates the spine back up, getting nice and tall. Exhale, nice little waterfall effect of the hands falling down comfortably towards the floor. With each one, we're seeing if we can reach a little bit further without pushing, without forcing, without going into pain. I want to also make sure that we feel nice and balanced on the chair, that we don't feel like we're going to fall. After 5 to 10 reps, we're going to switch back to the other side. Again, ankle on knee, actively reaching the knee towards the floor so that we're keeping that hip in tension. Inhale, fills up the spine. Exhale, hands wash over the front of the shins towards the floor. Inhale, back to tall spine. With each one, nice slow waterfall effect. See if you can reach a little bit further without forcing it. And how does this hip feel compared to the other side? Is it a little tighter, stiffer? Are you less mobile? I got a lot more stretch, feelings of stretch, sensations of stretch in this right hip compared to the other side, which again comes back to that knee sitting higher. This knee I've had 5 surgeries on, and so this hip is less mobile than my left, or in areas my right hip is less mobile than my left hip. After 5 to 10 reps, we're going to bring both feet back down to the floor. Staying nice and tall in the spine, we're going to bring the arms down to the side, elbows extended, spreading the hands as wide as we can. I want to get the thumbs and the pinky fingers reaching away from each other actively. We're then going to spiral the palms up to the ceiling, and we're going to do some bowls of soup, one side at a time. So starting with the right hand, keeping that elbow extended, we're spiraling through that arm, turning the thumb down to the floor. And we're seeing how far can we spin the humeral bone in that shoulder socket. How far down in can you turn that thumb towards the floor? And then spiraling it back up. How far can you turn that palm up towards the ceiling? And then same thing on the other side. And I'm keeping my arms kind of low to start with. And we're going back and forth from one hand to the other hand. Exhale as we spiral inward. Inhale as we spiral up. Exhale as we spiral inward to the other side. Now I want to notice how much rotation do we have through that long bone at this level of the shoulder socket. Is it tight and restricted when we spiral up or when we spiral down? Or is it a little clunky, a little gristly? I want to make sure it is not painful, so we're not moving into pain. As we're going back and forth, we can start to allow the arms to creep up towards more shoulder level. As we get closer to shoulder level, I'm going to start to allow the shoulders to roll more. So as I spiral in, I'm going to start to go to where I feel that shoulder blade start to roll over the top of the upper back. Inhale as it spirals back down. I want to feel it sink and pack. So we're going to start to see this nice little deviation of the upper back as we start to go side to side with it. Again, how does that right shoulder feel compared to the left shoulder? My left shoulder's a little clunkier, a little bit tighter, especially in external rotation as I spiral my palm upward. Right shoulder feels a lot smoother. Go ahead and drop the arms. We're going to shake them out. Turn sideways so this next one we can see better. We're still doing similar to the bowls of soup. So bringing arms back down to the side, spreading hands, palms are up towards the ceiling. I want to feel that chest nice and tall, opened up to the ceiling. We're now going to shrug up as we spiral both hands together. So both thumbs are turning down to the floor. And as I shrug, I'm letting the hands reach forward. And I want to get a nice rounding of the upper back as we extend those fingers like we're trying to reach out in front. We're also scooping the pelvis at the same time so that we get this nice stretch across the upper back, down into the lower back. As we inhale, we're shrugging back up, spiraling palms up towards the ceiling, bringing the hands back to the level of the hips, and then reaching downward, letting the shoulder blades pack. I want to stay tall in the spine. This is our inhale. So exhale, spiraling in as we reach forward, rounded back. Inhale as we shrug, pull back, reach down, and spiral palms up. As you're doing this, try to find a point on the wall out in front of you and keep your eyes fixed on it so that your head stays in the same position as you're moving back and forth basically through a seated cat-cow. After about 10 of those, we're going to let as we inhale, reaching down, dropping the hands, I want to grab the bottom of our chair and I want to kind of pull. So we're pulling the shoulder blade, actively keeping the shoulder blades pulling down towards our hips. So I'm grabbing the chair in order to keep the shoulder blades packed. But actively, I'm still lifting through my spine. So I want to be as tall through the spine, but hands are keeping the shoulder blades moving down towards the floor. And we're going to get into a little neck mobility. So we're going to inhale as we're at center, and we're exhaling as we're checking our blind spots. Slowly looking over the right shoulder. Inhale as we come back to the center. Exhale as we slowly look over our left shoulder. going back and forth. As we're turning our head, I want to make sure that we are reaching from our chin and trying to see how far can we get the chin to move over that crest or edge of the shoulder. I want to try to avoid moving from the forehead, where our head tends to tilt as we rotate. I want to keep that spine nice and tall. Notice, how does this feel when you're turning your head to the left compared to turning your head to the right? Is one side tighter, more restrictive? Do you go as far? Are you able to get that chin lined up to the same level at your shoulder? We'll come back to center. Now we're going to get into our light tilt and lift. So keeping the eyes forward, we're tilting as if we're dropping that ear towards our opposite shoulder, but it's a really light tilt. I don't want to drop real far. So just barely tilting. Then opposite ear, we're lifting up like we're trying to touch the ceiling with that earlobe. As we exhale, inhale, come to center. Exhale, go to the other side. Nice lift. This is a small movement, but we should get some nice stretch through this kind of front triangle space of our neck. Notice how well does it move on the right side compared to the left side. Is one side tighter, more restricted, achier? Is it painful? If it's painful, then we need to back off, keeping it below a level 3 on a scale of 0 to 10. Good. Next, we're going to do some shallow neck rolls. We're going to let that chin drop down to chest. Now, I'm still trying to maintain height of the spine, and I'm still actively pulling shoulder blades down. I'm just letting that chin drop down to the chest. We're going to, keeping it very shallow. I don't want to do deep neck rolls here to start with because I want to make sure this is not painful. So we're going to slowly let the right ear roll towards the right shoulder. Then we'll let our gaze move up towards the ceiling, and then the left ear moves to the left shoulder, and then chin back down to chest. And we'll slowly turn those 4 points into a circle. Nice inhale to exhale as you slowly roll. Notice, where does it feel tight, restricted? Is it a little crunchy? Do you feel some crackly nature in the neck? As long as it is not painful, it is okay to move into that crackle. You can kind of think of it like we're trying to de-crackle the crackle. If it is painful, then we need to back off. I want to make sure that with the neck, we are keeping it below a level 2 on a scale of 0 to 10. Below a level 2 is just slight discomfort. It's going to feel like a good stretch. It should not be painful in a way that makes your face, distorts your face or causes your body to tense up. After you do 5 to 10 rolls in one direction, we're going to switch and go the other direction. Now, as we go the other direction, I want to come back to shallow, keeping it nice and easy. Chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder, gaze up to the ceiling, right ear to the right shoulder, and then chin back down to chest. And again, slowly smoothing those 4 points into a circle, in which case we can start to go a little bit deeper with each one, as long as it is not painful. Good. After 5 to 10, we got one more that we're going to do, and this one is glide. I want to keep the cheekbones on the same plane. So eyes are staying fixed forward, and we're simply letting the head glide shoulder to shoulder. But I want to do this without any rotation, so we're not letting the head turn or tilt, where the forehead is leading the way. This helps to do in front of a mirror or in front of a camera so that we can see whether we're keeping that nice, good, smooth glide back and forth without the head changing position. I don't want that head turning, tilting. It's nice inhale as we come to center and exhale as we let that head glide to one side. Notice if you have limits in mobility, especially if those limits in mobility are more on one side than the other. This is a weird movement. It can be a little difficult to learn if you're not familiar with it, but it's a very important functional movement for the neck. So if you're having trouble with it, this is one worth working on. We're now going to change our position on the chair. I'm moving into a split stance through the front of the chair, so the back of the chair is now at my left side. So this little side sit on the chair. I want to have that back knee directly under the hip as much as possible and the toes tucked. We're going to start with just a little bit of light foot mobility. So I'm going to just kind of reach that heel, reaching the heel back and then pressing down into the floor, kind of just rocking back to forward. Actually, I want to change that. We're going to go side to side. So I want to feel the ball of the big toe kind of grounded into the floor, and we're going to let the heel roll out to the pinky side and then roll into the thumb side. I'm going to turn around so that that's more visible. So I've got my big toe, ball of the foot well grounded, knee is directly under the hip. Feel a little bit of active quad in that back quad, and then reaching the heel out and away so that we get all the way out to the pinky toe being tucked, and then rolling that heel in so that we feel that big toe mobility. Just kind of seeing how well can we roll back and forth. Getting into that foot. How does it feel on the big toe? How does it feel moving out to the pinky toes? Do you feel that in the arch of your foot? After about 5 to 10, we're going to switch to the other side. So I'm now in the opposite foot, doing the same thing. Feel that grounded nature of the ball of the foot. We're seeing if we can roll that heel out, keeping to the ball of the pinky toe, with the pinky toe kind of tucked underneath so we get some stretch, and then rolling back into the ball of the big toe. Move nice and slowly. Again, I want to make sure that we are avoiding pain, so keep the movement limited to what you can do that is pain-free, or at least at that level 1 to 2. And how does it feel on the right foot compared to the left foot? That feels different. Is one side tighter, more restricted? Do you feel it more in the big toe? Do you feel it more in the pinky toe? After 5 to 10, we're going to switch back to the other side. And I'm going to come into a side position now. So still the toes are still tucked underneath, knee is directly under the hip. We're going to get back into some breath, breathing into our belly. On the inhale, exhale, drawing that navel up and into the spine. As we inhale, filling up the belly, the bottom hip, the knee down hip, I want to allow that pelvis to tilt forward, trying to get some sway in our low back. On the exhale, as we draw that navel in, we're scooping into that pelvis, loading that scoop into that big toe. So I want to feel pressure through the foot as we scoop, and see if you can feel some light stretch and activation down through the front of the hip into the quad. Inhale, pelvis tilts forward. Exhale, scoop. Can you feel some light mobility stretch through the front of that thigh? After about 5 to 10, we're going to switch to the other side. Again, big toe is loaded, knee is directly under the hip. Nice inhale into the belly, pelvis is tilting forward. Exhale, drawing the navel up and in. As we scoop, feel that load down through the quad into the ball of the foot. We should feel kind of like more grounding pressure through that big toe, ball of the big toe, into the floor as we exhale. Inhale, pelvis tilts forward, nice big sway in the back. Exhale, navel into spine as we scoop. We want to really feel that we're loading into the big toe and we're not allowing that foot to roll out to the big pinky toe. So kind of feel that. Are you getting that dig through the big toe, or does that heel kind of want to roll away from it? It might be doing that because the big toe is a little sensitive. It might be painful, in which case we might want to back off a little bit, change position, or make sure we're not going too far or too forcefully. We're now going to switch back to the other side, or to our starting side. Still in that same position, big toe is tucked and loaded. We're going to do the exact same breath with pelvic tilt, but we're then going to add another component into it. So nice inhale, filling up the belly, pelvis tilts forward. On the exhale, as we draw that navel up and in and scoop the pelvis, the knee that is down, that same hand is now going to reach and extend up to the ceiling. Inhale, we're letting that soften as we fill up the belly, pelvis tilts forward. Exhale, navel to spine as we scoop, and then nice big reach. I want to initiate that scoop first so that we're kind of locking in that hip into that scoop, so we got that quad loaded, and then adding in that reach through the hands. Now what I want to avoid is too much of this opposite shoulder dropping. I don't want to side bend on the opposite side. So I want to try to keep that left shoulder at the same level. Inhale, exhale, scoop, and then reach and extend. Lift this one side shoulder without dropping the opposite shoulder. We're seeing if we can draw that stretch through the front of the hip up into our abdominal viscera as we reach, trying to reach a little bit higher on each one. And after 5 up to 10 reps, we're going to switch, do the same thing on the other side. Again, starting with that breath, big toe is tucked and loaded. Inhale, pelvis tilts forward, sway in the back. Exhale, navel into spine as we scoop, and then reach up towards the ceiling. Inhale as you let it soften, fill up that belly. Exhale, nice loaded scoop. Feel that loaded scoop through the ball of the big toe. Nice big reach. Again, trying to avoid dropping that opposite shoulder. How does it feel on this side compared to the other side? Do you feel it more in the front of that hip? Do you feel it more in the reach? Does one side feel harder, more challenging to do, tighter, more restricted, or just neurologically weak? Those are all important assessment points. After 5 to 10 reps, we're going to switch back to the other side. Again, big toe nice and tucked, knee is directly under the hip. We're doing the same inhale, filling up that belly, pelvis tilts anteriorly. Exhale, drawing navel into spine as we scoop. But now instead of reach, we're going to get both hands at the shoulders. Just nice little cross, hands crossing and touching each shoulder. Want to do this to help keep the shoulders square. So as we scoop, lock in that back hip. We're now going to exhale and rotate our chest towards the back of our chair. Seeing how far can we get our shoulders towards that chair. Inhale as we come back forward. Pelvis goes forward. Nice big inflation, sway in the back. Exhale, scoop the pelvis. Turn that the shoulders towards the back of your chair. Seeing how far can you get chest to chair. Now something I want to watch for is as we rotate, I don't want that knee to rotate with us. If anything, I want the lower body to be counter-rotating. I want to feel it maintaining pressure in the opposite direction from where we are turning. The more we get that, you're going to feel that mobility and stretch through the spine. And then the last little thing I will add is pick a spot on the wall out in front of you so that you're keeping your head fixed forward as you're turning your shoulders, so that our head is not turning with the shoulders. That'll create another little counter rotation and give us a little bit more feedback going up into the neck. After 5 to 10 reps, we're going to switch back to the other side. Doing the same thing. Again, arms are crossing chest, big toes loaded, knee is directly under the hip. Nice inhale, filling up the belly, pelvis tilts forward, sway in the back. Exhale, navel to spine as we scoop, and getting that nice rotation towards the back of the chair. Inhale as we bring it back forward. Exhale, seeing if we can get a little bit more rotation. And again, making sure that knee is not rolling with us. After you get a few where you're finding that range, we're now going to fix our eyes on the wall out in front, maintaining our head position as we get that nice rotation. How does it feel on this side compared to the previous side? Are you able to rotate more? Does it feel tighter? Does it feel tighter in a specific area of your hips or your back? Again, very, very helpful assessment points. All right, we're going to come back to our starting point. Getting back into our crocodile breath. So making our big C shapes with our hands, thumbs in the back, index fingers in the front. Nice big inhale through the nose, filling up that abdominal wall, feeling that balloon pressing out. Exhale, drawing the navel all the way into the spine. Inhale, fill that belly up. I want to get into a little bit of pelvic tilt work. So as we inhale, we're going to allow that pelvis to tilt forward as much as it can comfortably, getting that sway in our low back. Exhale, drawing the navel in and scooping the tailbone so that we're just getting some mobilization at the level of our low back. Notice how does it feel on our inhale, pelvis tilting forward. This is taking our spine into lumbar extension. Is there any tightness, tension, or discomfort moving in this direction? As we exhale and scoop, getting this nice rounding in our low back. Is there any tightness, tension, discomfort in that direction? The direction that you feel more tightness and discomfort in that mobility is very helpful as far as an assessment point. We can go ahead and let the hands come off of our abdominal wall. Let them just place them comfortably on your knees. After about 5 to 10 reps, we'll come back to our starting point. And we're just going to take a few more breaths, kind of checking in, coming back to that crocodile breath, except we don't need to use our hands. I want to just feel that abdominal wall expanding out. On our inhale, belly button pulling into the spine. On the exhale, we can start to bring that same breath up into our rib cage, feeling that same action. I want to feel expansion, not just front into the chest, also into the upper back and out through the sides. Kind of bringing that breath up into the shoulders, upper chest, into the neck region. On our exhale, feel the shoulders kind of soften and relax. On our inhale, we're breathing in, kind of filling into tension in the shoulders. And then on the exhale, allowing that tension to just rinse off down to the floor. If you want, you can close your eyes at this point and just kind of get a nice scan of the body. Noticing where do you hold tension in that breath? Where does it feel tight, restricted, maybe dense, like it's just difficult to get breath to move into certain spaces? And then exhale, how much can you allow that tension to just rinse off down to the floor? And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes.